Hello, and I will put into the corner the box opening, the opening of this watercolor set. So this is a little tiny pocket watercolor set from a brand called YPlus on Amazon, and I'm gonna do a little swatch out on there on the card they gave me, and also in my sketchbooks. Sketchbook. All right, so this is kind of an olive green. It's got some weight to it. It's not super lightweight, and so it folds open like that, and like that. And they do show this always with this in here. Um, I don't think that will be particularly useful for me. I will swatch this out. But for me, I think what will be most helpful is eventually I'll probably tape this whole thing off, or if I can, yeah, I can disconnect that. What I'll do is I'll disconnect it, tape off the edges, and then the part that seals, and spray paint it white and use it as another sort of mixing tray. These mixing areas are not all that big, but you know, they'll do the job. So this set does come with a little, actually kind of a nice velvet bag that closes up nice and tightly, that will hold the set when it's folded up. I keep doing that. When it's folded up, the metal clip, the two brushes, if you want to carry these with you, and the water brush that arrived with it. I showed this in my sort of unboxing that you may or may not be seeing. It came with this little metal disc with some adhesive on it, which is fine, and that is meant so that you can hold it to the clip there. I can't tell if the metal on this is just that weak, or if there's just not enough metal there to hold it in place. Let's check this out. This has a sturdy magnet in there. Yeah, no, it's not enough metal. There's not enough metal in that disc to hold this as securely as you might want it. It's okay, but it's not going to be great. All right, let's get to swatching and also testing out this water brush. When I filled it off camera. I did notice that it is actually, this is identical to the water brush that arrived with this, the Royal Langnickel 18 watercolor. I call it the flip flop set. It's like even to the point that the cap does not stick on there. All right, let's talk about the colors that are in this set, and then we'll do a swatching. All right, so we've got yellow light. Get a little water going, and they re-wet pretty easily. That actually is pretty nice. For such an inexpensive set, I am kind of surprised at how well that re-wet. That's actually quite nice. And I got quite a bit of color out of that pan for the amount of work it took. All right. All right. The next color is Oriental Orange. So let's see. Again, this one re-wet pretty well. I will say they feel a little, I don't know if chalky is the right word, but like as I'm re-wetting it, it's not the greatest feel, I guess, is what I want to say. And Permanent Red. Again, these are re-wetting, and I'm getting quite a bit of color on my brush with minimal effort. That Permanent Red is a nice pinky color. That's quite a nice shade. It'd be nice for portraits. This is marketed or billed as a student grade or children's set. All right, this is quinacridone or rose. That's kind of a probably a magenta. Yep, that's a nice magenta. It's a very nice magenta. That is very nice. I like that a lot. That's a nice color. And again, that's always pretty good for portraiture. I did attempt to pop the pop one of these pans out of the set to see if it would be easy to remove them. I gotta get in there. Yeah, no, these are glued in there pretty darn well. So that's not coming out easily at all. As I found with one of my other inexpensive. All right, so I lost my audio at this point, and so I'm going to do a voiceover. So I am noticing that these colors re-wet pretty well. So, the watercolor brush is okay. I'm able to get a decent amount of color onto it. And this is the point where I noticed that the purple, um, it separates out into a pink dye and then a purple dye. So the pink dye soaks into the page wherever you lay down the brush stroke. And yeah, it's a very unpleasant thing to have happen to a watercolor, and it makes it so that I would not want to use this when I'm out and about sketching. So that was the basic swatching on the page. I always do a swatch in my sketchbook on the paper that I'm currently using for sketching, as well as, if there's a swatch card included in a watercolor set, I do use that. But I need to know how the watercolors are going to work on the actual paper that I'm using currently. So, in addition to just like blocks, I tend to do what I call a blob page, where I basically make blobs of the colors and I mix them together to see what kind of oranges, greens, and purples I can mix with the given colors. And, this is not a bad setup. I will say the Payne's Gray that's included in it is meh. It's more black and doesn't have enough blue in it for my taste. I'd add more blue. The purple shade I would get rid of entirely. It would be much better off if there were a shade of like burnt umber or burnt sienna in there. That would give you more mixing capabilities with all of the colors available in this set. Um, I did attempt to pry the little plugs of color out. They are glued in there with something industrial because I could not get the pan of color out at all. There is just no possibility of removing it. So, what I do try to do here at the end is scoop it out with a piece of tin can, and I have been able to remove the majority of that color. And I will be replacing it with probably burnt sienna. It's just a much more useful color for me. The rest of the colors are fine for my art journal. They are not professional grade. They are meant for ages 3 and up, and it shows in how they mix and how they blend. The paper in the sketchbook is not great for mixing and blending at all. Um, but, it's a fun setup. If you are someone who is not able to make your own mint tin pocket set, this is a really good size. You can find them on AliExpress without the pan paints in them, and that's what I'd actually suggest doing is buying this without the paint in it and just filling it with your own. All right, that's what we got. Thanks for being here. I really appreciate it, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks and bye.